Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that proves even the most routine training can turn into a life-or-death struggle in the blink of an eye. This is the incredible account of pilot Mary, who took her team up for what she thought would be a simple day of landing rehearsals. They were practicing in the challenging terrain of a remote mountain range, a place known for its beauty but also for its unforgiving nature. The plan was straightforward. Practice a few different landing approaches and be back at base by sunset. But the mountains had other plans. Mary was a seasoned pilot with thousands of hours logged in the cockpit. She knew the aircraft inside and out and had faced her fair share of tricky situations. Her co-pilot, Mark, was also highly experienced, and the two made a formidable team. They began their drills, executing one landing after another with textbook precision. The weather was clear, the winds were manageable, and everything was going exactly as planned. As they practiced, they communicated flawlessly, their movements a well-oiled machine. They felt confident, perhaps even a little too relaxed, lulled into a sense of security by the routine nature of the day. They had no idea that the calm was about to be shattered. As they circled around for another approach, the weather began to turn. It happened with frightening speed. A thick, soupy fog rolled in from a neighboring valley, swallowing the peaks around them. Visibility dropped from miles to mere feet in what felt like seconds. Suddenly, the familiar landscape vanished, replaced by an impenetrable wall of white. Mary and Mark exchanged a worried glance. This wasn't in the forecast. The air traffic controller's voice crackled over the radio, confirming their fears. A freak weather system had materialized out of nowhere, and they were caught right in the middle of it. The mountains that were their training ground moments before had now become a deadly, invisible cage. Panic is a pilot's worst enemy. Mary knew she had to stay calm, not just for herself, but for her co-pilot and the team on board. Her training kicked in. She immediately started climbing, trying to get above the fog bank, but it was rising just as fast as they were. The instruments became their only eyes. The GPS showed their location, but surrounded by towering peaks, a single wrong move could be catastrophic. They were flying blind in a maze of rock and ice. The fuel gauge was another growing concern. Their simple rehearsal flight hadn't accounted for hours of circling, waiting for a break in the weather that might never come. Every tick of the clock brought them closer to an impossible choice. With fuel running critically low and no break in the fog, Mary made a daring decision. Relying solely on her instruments and her intimate knowledge of the terrain from previous flights, she was going to attempt a blind landing. It was an incredibly risky maneuver, one that goes against every rule in the book. But their options were gone. She and Mark worked together, cross-referencing maps with their altimeter and GPS data, trying to pinpoint a small, relatively flat clearing they had flown over earlier. The tension in the cockpit was immense. Every person on board was silent, trusting their lives to Mary's skill. She began her descent, her voice steady as she called out altitudes and headings, flying into the white abyss. The ground proximity alarm blared, a final, chilling warning. Then a sudden jolt. They were down. They had made it. The team was shaken but safe, trapped in the mountains until the fog lifted, but alive thanks to the courage and skill of their pilot. What an absolutely harrowing ordeal. It just goes to show you that skill, training, and a calm head under pressure can make all the difference when things go wrong. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as gripping as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales of survival. We'll see you in the next one.